Howdy folks, it's Outdoors with Ed and sometimes G. It has been so long since I have made a video. I've almost forgotten how to do those type things. But today is a Friday. It's in June 23rd, I believe. And maybe 24th, I'm not really even sure. I've been back to the office on a full-time basis for about 2 weeks. And it's such a different pace as when I've been teleworking. We teleworked for 2 years. Back to work on a regular basis now for a few weeks, and so I'm still adjusting. It's been so long since I've been fishing, but point of today's video is I am going to go fishing here on this wonderful coast known as Fort Knox, Kentucky. So stay tuned and we'll see you on the water. We were out here at Upper Douglas, and it's exactly like I like it. There's nobody else here. And that's awesome. I don't think I've ever been here when there's never been another soul on this lake. So it's not a huge lake by any stretch, but it's just what I need today. Let's see if we can catch some bass. It wasn't on the first cast, and it definitely isn't a huge fish, but you know, you can see it's about the size of my little skull here. It's not that big, but hey, we'll take it. First one today. Bass number 2. Been here, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. A little bit bigger, as you can see, and hopefully they get bigger than that. Well, it wasn't a large one, but I got it. It was on that log, and as I pulled it in, it slapped against the log on the bank, so I feel pretty bad about that. I also saw a deer running across the other side of the lake, so that was an eventful cast. All right, sorry little fish. He's got a couple of scars, but he'll live. I think this one's going to be chalked up as the heaviest one today. It's not too heavy. It might be a pound, but it's not the longest, but I think it's the heaviest. I've actually caught one that I haven't shown on video, but it was a lot smaller, but caught 3 of them right here off this log. You probably can't see it in the background, but it's right there in the water. Yeah, caught 3 of them right there. So if you see logs running down into the water, it's a good place to fish. Now this one, I don't know, either number 5, number 6, or number 7. I honestly lost count. Anyway, I caught this guy, and he's not the biggest, and he's also not the heaviest. That last one I caught was heavier. So he's just kind of average for today, but I caught him on a shaky head Wacky rig, and let me toss him back in here and I'll show you. If you don't know what a Wacky rig is, and I don't want to make the assumption that everybody knows what a wacky rig is, because I didn't until about a year ago. A wacky rig is when you take a worm and you just kind of hook it halfway down. Got it upside down, sorry. You take a worm and you hook it halfway and you just kind of let it dangle. And it has kind of sort of that motion when you're reeling it back in. Now, I would have never thought that I could catch a bass on something that looked like that, but I have caught a handful of bass since I was introduced to this wacky rig. And I just so happen to be using it on a shaky head setup, but I think you can use it on whatever kind of hook you've got. But that's what I caught that baby on. Hope you can hear me. Now, I'm going to be fishing with this wacky rig setup on the shaky head. So let's see how I can do. Well, all in all, it was a fun fishing trip today. Caught, I think I counted, I did lose count, but I honestly am going to claim 7 or 8. 7 or 8. There were a few fish that I did catch that I wasn't able to get on video. In particular, that very last footage where I was having the camera set up, filming me from a distance. I actually caught a fish right after the video stopped filming, and I didn't realize the video had stopped filming because the phone had overheated and it had stopped recording. Only I didn't know that until I went back to look at the footage. Well, I actually went back to pick the phone up, and the little message on the phone said phone needs to cool down before it'll start, before you can use it again. So I had heard a ding, and I realized that that ding had happened just prior to me catching the fish. So so there was another fish that I caught that I didn't get on video. So I'm going to claim 8 fish today. None of them were large. The biggest one was maybe a pound. But it was a good fishing trip, something I needed. And funny thing, so as I was getting ready to finish, or getting ready to leave, the phone had cooled down, but I was still fishing, and there was these 2 young fellows that came up and started fishing, and I talked to them, and I tried to share the wealth with them, if you will, and they received it very good. But here's what I'm saying, right? I shared the story about how somebody shared with me about how to fish with plastic worms, and I told them, I said, if you guys want to really catch some fish, some bass, try plastic worms. So I was showing them, right? I said, it's not guaranteed you're going to catch a fish every time, but you will catch fish on worms when you can't catch them on anything else. So I was fishing with the worm, and about that time my son called on my phone, and I answered my phone. So obviously with the reel in one hand, the phone in the other, I wasn't reeling the worm in. Well, if a bass took my worm and started tugging on it, it was I was talking to my son. And I was, at the same time, I was watching those young fellows look, and they were astonished, and they were like, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. Anyway, it made an impression on them that worms are the way to go. Worms are the answer to catching fish. Well, it's like any other bait, right? There's a lot of baits that catch fish, and a lot of baits that catch fish really well, but for me personally, it's worms, and I tried to share that with those young fellas, and I think they were pretty impressed that I caught a bass right after, and I wasn't even reeling the worm in, it was just there, but I caught that right after telling them that the worms were the best bait. So anyway, fun fishing trip today. It was needed. Thank you for watching. I do not make that many videos anymore. However, if you are still watching this, thank you for watching. And I will ask you to go ahead and please like and subscribe to the channel. And it's much appreciated. I am not a professional YouTuber, nor do I really aspire to be, I guess. I mean, if it were to somehow happen, that would be totally cool. I wouldn't pass it up. But I guess my goal from here on, because actually, let me just take a few minutes and tell you this. It takes a lot of work to edit videos. All right, and if you are a YouTuber, you know that already. I don't have that kind of time, or I should say, I don't like taking that kind of time to spend editing the videos. And I realize that some of my videos could use a lot of editing, and that's known, so it's not a secret. So if you criticize my videos because they don't have good editing, just know that I'm aware of it, and it won't hurt my feelings. So anyway, but thanks for watching, and see you next time.